Welcome, welcome. I'm the Real Swim Cheesy, and today I wanted to talk about the Happy Chaos arcade mode, since it is absolutely filled with a lot of lore, possibilities, one of Happy Chaos's biggest secrets thus far.
Yeah, fine. I do have a birthmark on my butt.
Anyways, let's just dive right into things as always. And the first thing we'll actually see when we boot up this Happy Chaos arcade mode is that Chaos has actually found Eno, and this is actually to Eno's disbelief. And of course, you know, as all these arcades gotta start, they gotta fight.
An illusion.
Only one way to find out.
For an illusion, you sure put up a good fight.
Please, I'm no illusion. I'm a prisoner, just like you, boss. And this is one shitty prison. No action, and no drama.
Oh, good. You're the real Chaos after all. How did you figure out I'd end up in this paradox anyway?
After all we've been through, I can't imagine we'd be kept apart for too long. Let's take a walk.
Through this, she believes it actually is the real Chaos, of course, which, if you actually lose one of your hearts, she's more confident in the fact they're illusions since you suck at fighting.
Well, you're real, all right. An illusion would have put up a better fight.
Sorry, I was lost in my own head.
Might as well stay in there. Beats this shitty paradox. Nothing here ever bears fruit.
You're right. And I'm sick of it.
As we just saw, though, if you do manage to win, Chaos quickly convinces her that he is the real deal after all. After that, it's brought up that they're in a paradox, which none of them seem to like. It's boring to them. Nothing ever happens. And for the drama-loving Chaos and sadistic Eno, of course this would make sense. So, what else to do but set off on an epic journey to find a way out. From there, if you go flawless to level 7, where I happen to absolutely get disrespected by this damn bot Potemkin.
Hey!
Man.
It's over! Potemkin Buster! Slide!
You'll run back into Eno. Here, she'll accuse him of hiding something.
Hold it. You're hiding something from me.
You got me. Yeah, fine. I do have a birthmark on my butt. There's a lot I haven't told you. You'll have to be more specific.
All right. Then do you know a way out of this place?
If I did, would you come with me?
Answer the question. Do you know or not?
After the fight, this is where things start to get real juicy. If you lose one of the rounds, he'll just be all, we'll talk about it later. And boo, we don't want that. We want this 2-minute rant that he goes on. And, I think the best way to just go about this route is just I'll play the whole thing right here. We'll dissect it from there.
Okay, let's simmer down a little. No need to get spicy. You know what demi-humans are, right? Vampires, werewolves, that sort of thing. Well, if you thought gears were neat, get a load of this. Demi-humans transcend genetics, physics, and even time itself. But plainly, their very existence is essentially a bug in our world's programming. Unlike you and me, they don't have IDs. They're the same existences across independent segments. And because of that, they subconsciously contain information about parallel universes, meaning that demi-humans can act as terminals that allow us access to parallel worlds. Though obviously, as dwellers of infinite timelines, they need to downconvert to our simple definition of Planck time in order to exist in what we call the real world. And heavens to Betsy, does that make finding actionable information on them difficult. Like finding one particle of sand across the vastness of the universe. Did you know there was a guy named Bedman who managed to delete his own ID and became a multi-dimensional being? Anyway, that's where Nagoriyuki comes in. He wasn't born a demi-human. He became one. A hybrid, if you will. I can access different timelines by following little references in his old memories. Once I do that, the rest is simple.
Oh, good. I was worried this might be complicated.
Yeah. Sorry. Let's get back out of the weeds here. Are you coming with me? Or not?
In a way, this paradox is the world I desired. There's no reason for me to leave it yet.
To be clear, your story was a fabrication, but I don't intend to rewrite it. Though I suspect that in the near future, someone will need you. And when that time comes, come play with me again.
So yeah, the big takeaway here obviously is that there's definitely going to be a werewolf Atlas drive in the future, all but confirmed at this point. Come on. Nah, but I think the big first talking point would definitely have to be demi-humans. The only one we know about currently are vampires that we've seen, Nago, but Slayer's obviously the more interesting one. I think myself and a lot of people expect to be added in the future, so hope we could break down exactly everything we need to know about this. One quote that I did find really interesting from Chaos in this, though, was, "If you thought gears were neat, get a load of this," as if gears didn't even hold a candle to what they are. And to be fair, if you can transcend genetics, physics, and time itself, I'd honestly have to agree. Chaos follows this up, of course, by saying it's a bug in our world's programming, and I'd hope so. This adds up because the other bugs that we've seen from the backyard thus far are people like Eno, Axel, and Azuna. And Eno and Axel in particular have time magic, while Azuna has teleportation magic. So I first assumed, like you might, that, oh, they're just like backyard creations, just like these threes, but, well, probably wrong! Chaos tells Eno that, unlike you and me, implying that they are a whole different thing entirely. Of course, Chaos himself makes a lot of sense, given to, well, at least to our knowledge, right, that he was born just a really smart human who founded the backyard and, did some other notable stuff, like, invent and discover magic, and then try to introduce the world to that magic. Also kind of warn them about, technology going haywire, but hey, whatever, that stuff doesn't matter, but obviously the more interesting one here being Eno. And if we skip ahead a bit, Chaos will ask Eno a very interesting question.
You temporarily acquired the memories of the entire universe, right? So you should know where demi-humans came from. Do you?
Son of a bitch. I can't remember anything about them.
Where demi-humans came from. And while he could easily be referring to, the backyard, for example, wouldn't that be the first place that Eno thinks of? I think Happy Chaos actually does know where they came from, and if not him, at the very least probably Slayer, since it's probably from there, right? Batman and Nagoriyuki might not, given that they both became demi-humans, and Chaos even refers to them as hybrids. So we need Slayer. We need him, please. And Delilah, because, she's probably going to explain a lot of stuff regarding this too, especially the universal ID thing, since Bedman was able to figure out how to erase his own somehow. This also would explain how he was so powerful in the strive mode, since he literally transcended, right? And why Ariel's maybe took so much of an interest in him. Also, if you're wondering how Chaos knows all about this about Bedman, the main reason just being that he was stuck inside Ariel for a long ass time. In the story, he says he's been trapped in a windowless room for 100 years, but him being stuck in a windowless room could refer to, more than just Ariel. Anyways, since this meant that demi-humans exist across all the paradoxes and all the parallel universes, he can possibly use, a demi-human, aka Nagoriyuki, as a terminal to get to other paradoxes and parallel worlds. In simple terms, right, what he's saying is that, demi-humans, unlike things with IDs, are connected somehow through all the versions of themselves. They don't have members because they transcend the computing power of the backyard. Because of this, they actually have to down-convert to our simple definition of blank time to even exist in the real world with all the infinite versions of themselves across the infinite, universes. Which is very whack, given that blank time is hella confusing and weird. Looked into it a bit, and basically, it's like the smallest unit of time that actually is somehow connecting the measurements of both length and gravity, being a possible huge breakthrough in theory into how different aspects of physics can actually connect. And heavens to Betsy, because of these demi-humans not being able to be tracked by, a universal ID in their current universe, having to down-convert themselves, it can be really hard to find information on, as Chaos compares it to finding a single specific particle in a sand across the entire universe. And I think he's really just saying that if you're looking for one, it's nearly impossible because there's literally nothing in our universe that can understand and track them. If Chaos can find one, though, going off everything he just told us, he should be able to access the memories of other universe Nagoriyukis and use that to get back to our main story of Guilty Gear, but... oh god, we'll bring it up later, don't you worry. But alright. Hopefully that all made enough sense. In there too, he did bring up, right, that Bedman did delete his own universal ID, which he seemed very impressed by, and stated earlier that demi-humans aren't like him or Eno. So, does Chaos know how to delete his own ID? And if he does, why hasn't he yet? Is there something holding him back? And if he doesn't, does that make Bedman smarter than the original himself? Maybe. And it's also just interesting, right? Because he's like, oh, you know, vampires, werewolves. But I think the main point here, and really interesting, is if anybody deletes their universal ID, do they just automatically become a demi-human? I don't know. Anyways, moving on though, right? Eno then states that, you know, she maybe doesn't want to go back. This paradox might actually be what she's looking for, turning back to the story where, you know, she wanted to see a world where everyone was the same in what they do. Eno's whole thing is that she doesn't have a present, and she always hopes for a better future. If everyone is equal, you know, no drama, no anything pushing into war, it might be the closest thing really right now to what she's actually looking for, you know, to observe. Chaos then rounds it out by saying her story was a fabrication, which I'm not really sure exactly what he means by that. Like, maybe just that she didn't win in the story and that she never really was meant to. I don't know. He then also suggests that she's probably going to be needed by somebody in the future. While this could be a nod at her returning sometime in the story, it could really just be him sharing his philosophy on the world, which is, you know, if something isn't stopping you, that probably means that, you know, something out there has a purpose for you to serve or, you know, help somebody. And then he says the line, guys, it's just a thing from the trailer. Oh my god.
Come play with me again.
But anyways, you know, following this, there are actually 3 different versions of Nagoriyuki that you can meet. And we'll just kind of go in, you know, order I feel most is appropriate, and the first one being the rejected version.
Abomination! No ordinary human.
Oh boy, you're definitely not the one.
Chaos versus Nagoriyuki.
In this world, everybody comes out a little funny.
Nothing funny about it. He's just one of a nearly infinite number of rejected outcomes.
Yokai, be gone!
This Nagoriyuki does not know who Happy Chaos is, like, at all. So Chaos loses hope for this Nago, that he is, you know, fully connected to the other Nagoriyukis. Eno's, you know, comment after that everyone comes out in this universe a little funny is... well, like, I don't know, man. Because, right, like, everybody in this universe that isn't a demi-human is their own unique person and ID, right? So, like, I guess paradoxes are, like, just whack as hell, and only the real world is, like, the normal world. I don't even want to go too far into theories like that. I guess maybe we can, like, think MCU style, where, like, there's branching, and maybe there's just, like, dumb branching stuff, though. I don't know. anyways. Then Chaos is all, like, you know, he's just one of infinite number of rejected outcomes. So, you know, okay. Maybe this is all just means that even though that all the demi-humans, you know, versions of themselves are connected in some way, that some are just more complete than others, and only the one in the real world is like the complete one, or the one most resembling, you know, the transcended version of it, and everyone else that has an ID is a complete version of themselves in that timeline, and that this timeline is just funny because everyone here is funny. Like, I don't know, man. It's whack, you know, whack. Also, Nago calling Chaos a yokai makes sense if you were curious about that. Since Chaos is a spirit, essentially, like we learn about that in the story. It's even been mentioned like a bit in Zerd. Like a good example, just to kind of throw off, which I don't think a lot of people know, he's actually part of the reason that Ariel's, you know, became evil. Like, he'll go into spirit form and, you know, influence people. So it was mentioned that when he was actually ripped out of her, she regained her sanity. So we could actually see her return in the story as a, you know, good guy for once. And also makes sense since, he always talks about how I'm dead, you can't kill somebody who's dead. The next Nagoriyuki we meet actually shows to have some recognition of chaos.
Hatred. Zero. Demo, I will cut you.
Now you're giving me high hopes.
Which, of course, is, good and supports his theory. But his conversation with Ino...
Looks like you're every bit as popular here.
I'm pretty sure he's not the one either. But I did gain something. He's sensing me.
And what exactly did you gain on our not-so-ordinary walk?
An entity similar to the real Nagoriyuki could be a key to our original world.
Excuse me? So, what? You've started defining your own reason to exist?
I've always had a mind of my own, but I've never had any purpose. But if I've got a way of escaping this place, doesn't that mean something has a purpose for me?
Okay. So, I guess on their walk, they are actually hopping from universe to universe, looking for the specific Nagoriyuki that will act as their turmoil, take it back, right? This time, he also used the phrase entity similar to the real Nagoriyuki, which supports the idea that I mentioned earlier that, there are beings in a tier, here's the tier of Nagoriyuki. That last one we met, trash. He's like the D tier of Nago. This one, he's he's a solid C tier, but we need A, S, the real Nago's S tier, right? But, have the complete versions of demi-humans. And okay, real quick, imagine because I just thought of this, imagine if there's a version of Batman out there that's hella dumb or some shit. That'd be pretty funny, right? He just sleeps all day, he just can't communicate, and he somehow transports you into his dream, be oh, where the fuck is he? Where am I? And he just comes out I'm sorry, that's kind of funny, but anyways, this also means that the idea that all the Nagos being connected is true, but you can't use just any old Nagoriyuki connect to the other Nagoriyukis. No, you need a premium Nagoriyuki, you need the hookup Nagoriyuki. You need the his brother's uncle's friend's Nagoriyuki, you need one of the more complete ones, I guess, to talk about it really. But alright, let's take a break from all the weird theories and stuff for a sec. Let's get it back on track. Then accuses Chaos of defining his own reason to exist. Oh my god, how dare you? You said you don't have any reason to exist. And I'm sad, so you have to be sad too. Of course, he's just nah. Come on, you know me. If I could do something, then I think I should, because it probably means that something out there has a purpose for me, right? Chaos's motivational speech, a troubled youth, would be something along the lines of man, you sad and you don't want to do anything? Well, you should. Because if you have the opportunity to do something, that probably means that somebody's out there and wants you to do it. Okay. Then Ino and Chaos then continued their, little lovers' quarrel.
Sounds like a question you should save for your therapist.
So what? You're saying that it's a mere coincidence that you share an ID with a woman that isn't a parallel world version of you, but also isn't a completely different person?
It must have been fate. The word you hate the most.
I prefer to believe that I have a right to make my own choices. Besides, I hear the voices in my head calling out, "Save us!"
Save us?
Maybe next time I'll be playing the hero.
You dare avert your filthy gaze!
He then goes, to talk about more on the idea of, IDs and specifically shared IDs. And I'm actually really happy that he did this, because I was kind of thinking maybe if you delete your ID, your ID's just kind of shared through all your non-ID people. That wouldn't make a lot of sense. So I'm glad that this is brought up, and for individuals like Ino, who has one, and I also think Axel has one, because they're both confirmed to have two versions of themselves. And we actually got to see a bit of Ino's other half at the end of the Strive story mode. And although we haven't seen Axel's other half, it's actually been hinted at since damn flippin' fucking XX. Axel was in love with Ino's second version, and Ino's in love with Axel's second version. I don't know, but it's kind of dope that Daisuke's been maybe didn't intentionally plan this from the beginning, but like connecting it back to that's kind of sick. That's kind of sick. But anyways, whack is all I know. But you know, hey, who knows? Axel 2.0 for future Stride DLC. Hell yeah, I'm sure that's what people want. More zoners. Yep. Anyways, it's the reason that they can travel through time, actually, you know, as diagnosed by Faust to Axel. So I'm just assuming there's probably something, you know, similar going on with Eno's situation. And similar to all the Valentines being based off Arya, maybe Axel and Eno were actually originally based off people from the existing real world. The only difference is that the person that they're based off, you know, were still alive. So, you know, just some food for thought and something we might get answered in future story modes. Then after that, right, like Chaos goes absolutely full crazy mode. Saying he's hearing like the voices in his head saying, "Save us, save us." Like maybe it's the voices of the dead or like the damned, right? But you know, as Biken's, you know, Mirror of the World theme states,
God knows that no voice can be heard by the damned.
So okay, but yeah, whatever you want to think. And you know, he finishes out by saying something similar to what he said at the end of the story, that being that the next time we see him, he might be playing the protagonist or hero, which falls right in line with what, you know, everything we know about him, right? For Chaos, good and evil don't exist. All he cares about is drama and following the path that's laid out in front of him. So if that path leads him down the road of good or evil, it doesn't matter to him. Also, given how many times, you know, he's brought it up, like, at this point, I'd be a little disappointed if he wasn't the good guy in the next story. And, you know, we'll also go into maybe his purpose that, you know, he says he doesn't have a purpose, but we'll get into that, don't worry. Finally, moving on to our, you know, third Nagoriyuki. In this one,
I will kill you!
Bullseye!
so he's got the hatred. You know, we all Gucci now. This is the A-tier Naga we've been looking for. Now, whew, it's been a long journey, but bear with me a bit longer. Finally getting into the endings now. In the first two endings, we're basically reinforced things that we learned in earlier, you know, kind of facts and stuff. Like in the rejected Nagoriyuki, they kind of just continue their journey, you know, looking for a good Nago. In the kind of, you know, base Nago one, Eno just kind of makes excuses, you know, as to why she doesn't want to head back. Like he's like, oh, you know, I think we're close, you know, we're gonna get there, but, you know, she's like, oh, it's gonna tear up fabric and space time, and like, I don't want to do that. And Kaz's like, nah, come on, we're good, fam. But then, you know, ditches him. Guess she dumped him. Long live happy Chaos and, you know, Valentine. They'll be missed. But maybe, you know, can't end the ship yet. I don't really want to see Eno and Axel, so it is what it is. As for the Naga who's actually looking for, there's not too much here, right?
My all rests upon my blade.
I still can't believe I didn't get to see you go all out against Saul.
But, of course, the reason for that is it does lead into the, you know, level 9 Nagoriyuki. Well, assuming you don't lose, then, you know, you get this.
Piece of shit! I want nothing to do with you!
Oh, look. The fragment of possibilities aware enough to remember me. That's good. My hypothesis is starting to hold water. Let's hope I get to meet the real you next time.
So, you know, again, just reinforcing earlier ideas. So, you know, and even with the normal one, there's nothing crazy, right? You know, it's cool, you know, we wish he would have saw Soul, you know, Naga go all out against Soul, so I guess he's still got some strength in him, right? But the last juice and spice of this course comes from the ending, you know, the level 9 ending.
Why have you been chosen?
I've got equal parts hope and resentment circulating through my body. If humanity doesn't learn to coexist, their survival instincts will swallow them whole. And until one or the other comes, I'm not going away. Maybe we'll find a possible past next time.
Now, this idea of him being, like, the Chosen One. I've got no clue, man. Like, you know, obviously chosen by who? For what? You know, and you know, again, he goes off that like he's doing what he's doing just because he wants to. And to be honest, I do feel like it would make a lot of sense if he's lying about that and using it as a cover-up. If he's just kind of chosen one, you know, meant to almost bring peace and, you know, cooperation between these two races of people, right? He does say though that, you know, just to give us some insight, it's because possibly why he was chosen, of his neutral existence of living. He doesn't pick sides. He doesn't hold grudges. He doesn't have hope. He just exists. So whoever chose him might have picked him for, you know, this exact reason. Then we get into, you know, smell of the gang clip territory, baby.
Mankind knew that they cannot change society. So instead of reflecting on themselves, they blamed the beast.
This idea is, you know, just thrown into our faces at literally every single intro for every single match that we play. And I think it's leading into the ultimate driving force of our story for Strive. That being that humanity does not want to coexist with Gears. And, you know, since Kai wants to allow Gears to live with humans, they might try, you know, but oppress and hate the Gears. This might actually lead to a war that, you know, could destroy the world. I mean, like, mankind knew that they could not change society. So instead of reflecting on themselves, they blamed the beast. Maybe Chaos was chosen to be an observer and mediator for this coexistence and try to make it work. Mankind does not want to change society to live with Gears. Following also why Chaos tells Nago that maybe next time they can find a possible past, one where they can coexist without that, you know, past of bloodshed and war. But until then, he's not going anywhere. Anyways, you know, that about wraps it all up. I really hope you guys enjoyed. I apologize for making, you know, always these longer videos. I just really love getting into the lore and stuff. Thank you guys so much for your support and feedback on my last video. If you saw it, I'll link it or figure out how to do that right. But let me know your thoughts on this arcade mode. Maybe some theories or, you know, something I possibly overlooked. I'd honestly love to hear it because, you know, I'm open to hearing that kind of stuff. You know, also please have any suggestions for more videos. Yeah, I do plan on making a couple videos this week, see how they go. I've got some ideas, but again, I'd love to hear what you guys think. My next video I'm especially excited for. It's not going to be as serious and lore driven. It will have a little in there, but just, you know, I'm pretty hyped for it. But, you know, anyways, thank you all so much for watching. Again, if you made it this far, you know, till next time, again, I'm the real Sim Cheesy. Love y'all and take care.